Okay, let's dive straight in. Chennai Super Kings, five-time champions, finishing rock bottom in 2025. I mean, it's a shocker, isn't it?
It really is. More than just a bad season, it feels like a complete collapse. A nightmare scenario for a team with that kind of history.
Dismal is the word. And Chepauk, their fortress, suddenly not so much. The aura, gone. So, our mission today really is to figure out how on earth this happened.
Exactly. We need to unpack the strategy, or maybe the lack of it, the performances, the big missteps. We've dug into the analyses coming out about this campaign.
And there's plenty to dig into, so much talk about how a giant like CSK could fall this hard. Where do we even start? The auction seems like a major point of contention.
Oh, absolutely. The 2025 mega auction, you look back now and it feels like that's where the first big cracks appeared. It set the tone, not in a good way.
Suresh Raina, Mr. IPL himself, practically, he was pretty blunt, said players have not been bought properly. Simple as that.
And when you see nearly 20 crore, 19.75 crore, spent on just two spinners, Noor, Ahmad, and Ashwin, you have to ask questions.
Right. That's a huge amount for one area. Raina questioned it too, didn't he? Like, where was the focus on young talent?
Precisely, it seemed. Perplexing. Overpaying for maybe aging stars, overlooking rising talent.
Right.
You had guys like Shreyas Iyer, Pant, KL Rahul available. Players Raina felt they should have gone hard for.
But they didn't. Instead, it was these sort of under-the-radar domestic guys, some former players maybe past their peak. It just felt odd. A colossal misfire, some called it.
And Harbhajan Singh chimed in too, right? Worried about the lack of game-changing innings from the younger players they did pick. Suggests maybe the scouting wasn't quite up to scratch either.
And the result on the field, pretty disastrous. 7 losses in the first 9 games. That's just not CSK.
No, and they ended up using, 20 players from their 27-man squad?
Yeah.
That screams desperation. Trying anything to find a combination that worked after the auction went sideways.
So Raina essentially puts the blame squarely on the management for those picks.
Seems like it. Everyone knows that the players bought this time weren't selected properly. Pretty direct. You can't really argue when you look at the season they've had.
Okay, so the auction was a mess. But it wasn't just who they bought, it was also who they let go, wasn't it? Losing that championship core.
Oh, definitely. That's another massive piece of this puzzle. Letting go of players who were absolutely key to their previous successes. That championship DNA just vanished.
Take Josh Hazelwood. CSK lets him go, he ends up at RCB, and what does he do? Takes 4 wickets in a crucial game, helps RCB beat CSK by 50 runs at Chepauk.
The irony is brutal. He even said CSK helped him develop his T20 bowling. Now he's the kind of world-class bowler they desperately lack.
And Ajinkya Rahane. Let go by CSK, goes to KKR, captains them to an 8-wicket win over CSK. His captaincy looks sharp, his batting solid.
And remember how vital he was for CSK in 2023? His comments after that KKR win about clarity and planning? You felt that was maybe a little dig at his old team?
Could be. And then there's Moeen Ali, also at KKR now. Rahane revealed Moeen actually helped KKR plan for the Chepauk game, even though he wasn't playing, using his inside knowledge against CSK.
It just highlights a failure to value proven performers, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Moeen gave them so much balance, all-round ability.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to miss that badly now.
It's like a fumbled handover. Key players thriving elsewhere while CSK struggles. The contrast is just stark. It really puts the management's decisions under the microscope.
A really poor judgment call on who to keep and who to let go. They weakened themselves significantly.
Which brings us to the players they did keep or brought back. That loyalty to veterans.
It's always been a CSK thing, but this year it just completely backfired.
Massively. Look at Ashwin. Big reunion, nearly 10 crore. Then he retires from internationals mid-season before the IPL's even halfway done.
And his performance. Struggle for wickets, high economy, eventually dropped. That gamble. Proven costly is an understatement.
Yeah, and batsmen seem to approach him differently now, don't they? More attack, less respect. And he wasn't the only one. Jadeja, retained for, 18 crore? A huge sum. But the impact just hasn't been there. Subpar with bat and ball, really.
Exactly. And you add in others like Devin Conway, Vijay Shankar, Rahul Tripathi, older players who haven't fired. That formula of winning with experience, it just seems to have expired.
The team looks slow, vulnerable to injuries too. Ruturaj Gaikwad getting injured early forced Dhoni at 43 back into full-time captaincy. That exposed the lack of depth, didn't it?
Absolutely. This refusal to refresh, to bring in younger legs, it left them looking one-dimensional, out of pace. 2025 has been a brutal lesson. Legacy and loyalty only get you so far.
You need that youth infusion. They desperately needed it this year.
Which leads us to the coaching side of things. Stephen Fleming, longtime coach, loads of success, but this season, have his methods gone a bit stale?
The tactics certainly felt uninspired, especially at home. Remember him being reportedly livid about the pitch after a loss, expecting a turner, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, and the plan just collapses if the pitch isn't exactly how they want it, because the batting couldn't consistently post big scores, and the bowling wasn't adapting. Where is the innovation?
We saw other teams using retired out tactically, trying different things. CSK just seemed stuck, and the selections felt muddled, didn't they? Throwing in DeWald Brevis, promoting a 17-year-old opener, felt like panic moves.
The total contrast to his title-winning teams where roles were clear, the XI was settled. This year, chopping and changing, desperation, and the motivation levels seemed really flat.
The body language was awful at times. Lost, uninspired, low on fight. You didn't see that usual spark from Fleming or the team.
Even Dhoni looked rattled. That argument he had with the umpire after the MI loss, that's not typical Dhoni. Shows the frustration building up.
And Reyna's point again. The other 10 players are not responding to the captain, repeating the same mistakes. That reflects on the coaching too, surely.
It has to. And if Reyna's right that Dhoni has little involvement in auction decisions, then the responsibility for the squad building and the season plan falls heavily on Fleming and the management.
So, misread the auction, then failed to get the best out of the players they chose.
Seems that way. After 15 years, maybe a new direction is needed. This was Fleming's worst campaign by a long shot. You have to ask the question.
All these issues, the auction, letting players go, the aging core, the tactics, it just resulted in a team that looked completely demoralized by the end.
Utterly devoid of fight. Drooping shoulders, spark gone. You got the feeling even the players had kind of given up hope midway through.
And some of those losses.
Yeah.
Just brutal blowouts. 50 runs to RCB at home, 9 wickets to MI at home. That 8-wicket loss to KKR in just 10 overs.
The worst ever home run, too. 4 straight losses at Chiphawk. Getting bowled out for 104. Priyansh Arya smashing a 39-ball century against them. These are lows CSK has never really experienced before.
Just no resistance. 1 wicket falls, and suddenly it's a collapse. Misfields, drop catches, timid batting, bowling that looked resigned.
And again, Reyna's quote about the players not responding to Dhoni. A 43-year-old captain putting in the effort and getting... what?
Yeah.
Dropped heads, empty eyes. The fight just wasn't there.
It felt like confusion, inertia took over, like the season was just waiting to end. That trademark CSK grit completely vanished. Mentally checked out.
It was tough to watch, honestly. A champion side looking completely lost.
And yet, amidst all that chaos, you still had Emma Stoney at 43. Trying to hold it all together, playing through pain, you have to imagine.
His commitment, you can't question it. Like Reyna said, keeping, captaining, trying to carry the team. The tactical nous is still there. The field settings, the clever bowling changes, the stumpings. He tried everything.
But even Dhoni can't perform miracles, can he? Not with a team this flawed. Poor bowling execution, batsmen freezing under pressure. His best efforts just weren't enough.
No. That image of him after the SRH loss, their 4th home defeat, slumped shoulders, the disappointment clear. Reyna thought a meeting must be coming, like even Dhoni was reaching his limit.
And his batting age and maybe team tactics meant he batted lower down, couldn't always provide that finishing kick himself, and nobody else stepped up consistently either.
His leadership legacy is obviously secure, that's beyond doubt. But 2025 proved that even he can't drag a fundamentally broken team over the line. It's a massive signal for CSK.
A signal that they need a serious overhaul, that they can't waste the last bit of Dhoni's magic.
Absolutely. A full revamp is needed for 2026. Time for young blood, fresh energy. Like Sehwag said, bring in new young players.
A clean slate, maybe? Tough calls on big names, maybe even legends to make space?
Has to be considered.
Yeah.
Reyna suggested Dhoni might lead a major shakeup. They need to build a new CSK identity. Faster, fitter, fearless.
So targeting dynamic batters, athletes in the field, young quicks.
Right.
The kind of players we see making an impact elsewhere.
Exactly. Look at Prabhsimran Singh at Punjab, backed as an opener, becomes a match winner, gets 100. Sai Sudarshan at Gujarat Orange Cap winner, anchoring their batting. Tilak Varma at Mumbai Reliable, plays crunch innings.
Those are the types of domestic talent CSK used to find and nurture, aren't they? They need to get back to that, rebuild that Indian core.
Definitely. Plus, pace in the bowling, a young quick-hitting 145 kilate, a spinner with some mystery, like Noor Ahmad actually showed promise with his 12 wickets, and fielding. Agile fielders are crucial.
And maybe empowering a new leader, Gaikwad, perhaps, with Dhoni mentoring.
That seems like the logical path. The transition plan is essential now.
So despite this nightmare season, is there any hope for the fans? It feels pretty bleak right now.
It does, but look, CSK has a history of bouncing back, right? 2020 was dismal. They won in 2021, stumbled in 2022, won in 2023. If they learn the lessons, a resurgence isn't impossible.
The fans certainly deserve it. They're incredibly passionate. And the Dhoni factor is still huge, isn't it? Whether playing or mentoring.
Crucial. Reina thinks Dhoni will be plotting already. Maybe target some of those young guys we mentioned, Prav Simran, Tilak, find the next suitor son, invest in a top overseas quick.
And build around the few bright spots they do have. Noor Ahmad is only 20. Pathirana has potential.
Exactly. It's a necessary transition. Sometimes failure is the best teacher. This could be the catalyst for the next great CSK era, believe it or not.
A phoenix from the ashes situation. Maybe.
Could be. Like Reina said, they often storm back after a bad year. So keep the faith, maybe. Hope the management takes this brutal critique on board and makes the right changes. 2025 could be the springboard, not just the endpoint.
We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a fascinating offseason for them. Okay, that's our deep dive for today.
Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.